Hello everybody and welcome back to the Empty Nest Teacher channel. If you are new, welcome. And if you have seen a video or two from this channel, thank you so much for coming back. We don't take any of you for granted. So today this video is about the new teacher boot camp training that I have been a participant in this week. So as some of you may or may not know, I will be a first-year teacher this fall. I'll be teaching third grade, and I'm super excited about that. And so for our district, all new teachers have to take the new teacher boot camp. And this year it was virtual. Of course, due to everything that has been going on with the pandemic and COVID and all of that, our sessions have been virtual in the past. They have not been, they've been in person. But this year was virtual, which was awesome for me because I'm actually at the hotel in Illinois. My daughter has, in the process, I should say, of moving in to her apartment. And I have a little story and a conversation about that in another video if you want to go take a look at that. So while I am here, during the day, there are sessions, 3 sessions a day that we have. So I'm in my room while she's out and about doing some things with some of her roommates and teammates. And I'm handling my business here in the room. So I have just completed day 3. So this is August 18th today. This new teacher boot camp started on the 16th. We had that was on Monday. We had sessions yesterday, the 17th, and then sessions today, the 18th. Tomorrow there are sessions for international teachers, and then there are no sessions on Saturday. So this, for me, was a 3-day boot camp. And so this is the conclusion of my new teacher boot camp. So I just wanted to share a little bit about the different sessions that I took, the different sessions that were available. So we were able to register for the sessions that we wanted to take as long as there was room in each session. And I found a lot of them to be valuable. So for me and the other teachers that are in my cohort, you can see a previous video that I've posted about how I became a teacher. But there was an additional training that I had already gone through. So for me, there would be 3 phases of training. So this is phase 2. The new teacher boot camp is phase 2. Phase 1, because I'm coming in as an alternative, through an alternative route. So I didn't go to school, get my bachelor's degree in education. Or teaching, and get my master's degree in education and teaching. So I have a bachelor's degree in business management accounting, and I've been doing accounting for a long time. And so because I'm coming in through an alternative route, there was a cohort that I'm a part of that did intensive training starting July 6th or 5th, and we had about a month and a half long training. So from July 5th or 6th all the way through last week, which was the 14th, August 14th, each week we had sessions just about every day. We had 1 or 2 days off during that time period, but every day from 8:30, 9-ish to 4 o'clock. And so that has been what my summer is. So that was the first phase of training, as different sessions concerning different things in our district or our county. So we got through phase 1, and then this week started phase 2, which was the new teacher boot camp. So the third phase will be next week when we get to go to our schools, and we have what is called PEEP training at the prior to the start of the school year. And so that's the PEEP training is when all teachers come back starting the 27th. I'm sorry, that's not right. PEEP training is the 24th through the 26th for the new teachers, and then on the 27th is when all teachers come back. So that would be phase 3. So back to phase 2, the new teacher boot camp. So here are some of the sessions that were available for us to sign up. And so there were, again, 3 sessions every day that we should sign up for. And then in the middle of the day, they had different activities that you could also be a part of if you chose to do so. So there were sessions with the following titles: Get a Taste of the Sweet Life Google Platforms, Google Gmail and Google Calendar, Tips and Tricks for Google Classroom, Ask the Mentor, Blooming the Learning Process, Building Relationships with Colleagues, SPED 101, that's Special Education 101, Strategies for Organization and Management, Time Management. There was one of the engagement activities had to do with Flipgrid. Everything Begins with a Song. I Have a Question, Questioning and Discussion Techniques. Relationships Roundups with Students, Team Building for Teachers. And that is an activity that will be at the Camp Schmidt, William S. Schmidt Center. Visual Arts Jumpstart, and Vamos a Aprender Español, so an introduction to Spanish for educators. So those were some of the sessions that, let me give you some other sessions. They were Primetime Tech, which was for elementary. And some of these sessions dealt with like Jamboard, Google Classroom, some of the different, pieces of technology that we can incorporate into our teaching. There was the Fantastic Four, that's tech tools for secondary educators, Zoom features to maximize engagement. There was project-based learning, that was a session. There's Power in Pausing, intentionally creating space to enhance your wellness. Yesterday was an engagement activity with Google Forms. Effective co-teaching, the power of 2. So again, those were some of the sessions that were, I'm trying to make sure. Then on Monday, the engagement activity was with Kahoot. All right, so if you went to those engagement activities, you got to learn how those tools work. So the first day, my first session was Get a Taste of the Sweet Life Google platform. So I enjoyed all of these sessions. The second session was SPED 101, again, Special Education 101. And then my third session was the introduction to Spanish. And the Spanish teacher or instructor that we had used to teach at the high school that I graduated from and that my children graduated from. So it was really nice to see someone that had taught there. The second day of this training, I chose the Fantastic Four, Tech Tools for Secondary Educators. The Primetime Elementary, I'll be teaching elementary school, but the Primetime Tech Elementary sessions were full. So I went ahead and did the secondary educators. The second session for yesterday I did was Strategies for Organization and Engagement. And then the third session was Relationship Roundup for Students. And then today I did Tips and Tricks for the Google Classroom, Time Management. And then because I missed some of the session, I did the Relationship Roundup with Students again, and I'm glad I did it for a second time. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the sessions that I did today, so this video won't be super long. So the Tips and Tricks for Google Classroom, the first session that I did today, was really awesome. So they allowed us to separate into breakout rooms, and each breakout room was assigned by beginner. So those who, only have a beginning knowledge, may not have any knowledge of the use of Google Classroom. Moderate, those who have used it, but you're not an expert status, you want to learn more. And then of course the experts got more advanced training. So I went into the moderate. So I've used Google Classroom before, I'm familiar with it, the setup of it, how to generally use it. But I definitely would not call myself an expert. So I went into that session. And so a few things that I picked up from that class was how to differentiate assignments. So of course, a part of the new teacher training in different phases, the different phases that I've gone through, we've been talking about differentiation. So we know that In our classes today, when I was in school, when you had special education students, they were kind of in their own classes. But that's not the way special education is run today. So it's a inclusion. And so, the special education students are included into the general classroom. And so as general classroom teachers, we have to learn how to address that. So within Google Classroom, we can assign certain assignments to certain students and then other assignments to other students to make sure that we cater to the needs of the students individually. Another thing that I learned was how the grading system, you can choose your grading system like a weighted average or just total points. You can, designate if you want the student to see their final grade, or not the final grade, but the grade that they have until at that point. How to grade assignments within Google Classroom. So we don't use Google Classroom for our grading system in terms of what parents see and what generates report cards, but that's a way for students and parents to see their current grades. So those are just a few little things that I learned in more detail about Google Classroom that I really enjoyed. Let me get my notes really quick. You can also put a setting on who can answer or post in Google Classroom. So like, as a teacher, you post announcements. Do you want to let the students, post whenever they want to, or can only the teacher post announcements and then students can respond to your post as a teacher? So that was another good tip from them. The second session was time management. So there were two gentlemen running this session, which was really awesome. And again, they gave some really good tips. So the first tip that I wrote down was to contact, as a new teacher, you contact your special education teacher at your school for IEP snapshots for those students that applies to. So that way you can, when you first come in, get an idea within the IEP of what the needs are for those students and what, as a teacher, we are obligated to do for those students. So we can get a handle on that from the beginning by getting an IEP snapshot. At some schools, you may have meetings set up with the special education instructor, but if those meetings aren't automatically set up, then their suggestion was to, you make the move to have a conversation with that instructor. Prep the classroom for the next day. So today, after class is over, school has been dismissed, let me go ahead and prep the class for tomorrow. So that way I don't have to come in tomorrow scurrying around and do anything, to set up. I'm already good to go. Schedule assignments in Google Classroom ahead of time. So if I plan out my lesson plans and plan out the assignments, I can go ahead and schedule those things and make sure that they're live. They go live each day they're supposed to, but I can do that in advance, schedule them out in advance. Hapara, the workflow tool, I need to look more into that, the workflow tool from Hapara. Now I do know with Hapara, you can kind of take a look at the activity. You can look and see what the students are looking at and what they're doing, what screen they're on and all that, which is awesome. And then another good point that they had in this session is to schedule self-care. So within your time management, make sure you're scheduling self-care. Then the last session I had was the relationship roundup. So how do we form a relationship with our students and then build upon that throughout the year? And so they had class meetings and they showed examples of like introduction slides. They gave a lot of different suggestions for class meetings, which were just a simple class discussion. They had scavenger hunts, they had team building activities, and then they had like birthday celebrations, and they had social and emotional check-ins. So the third session that I had today was the relationship roundup session, which had to do with building, creating and building a relationship with your students from the beginning of the school year. So they had some awesome suggestions for how to do that. First was class meetings. So they were saying how, you can have class meetings for different things. You vote on different things within the classroom. And I know in multiple sessions that I've been through, one of the things that students can vote for from the very start is, what would the class norms be for this group of students? We have been encouraged not to be so commercial in everything that we post in our classroom, in terms of the walls and the decor and everything, to create, from student work, or create from student meetings, what will we use in this classroom? So what will be the class norms? The welcome, there'll be team building and bonding sessions, regular discussions, celebrations and parties for students, scavenger hunts, and social, emotional, that's my daughter, y'all, washing her hands. Social emotional check-ins where they can use emojis to kind of tell, how they feel today. So they also gave us a cute little presentation example of what some intro slides could look like. So I'm very excited for all of the sessions. We went through looking at being a part of these sessions through an app. And so at some point, all of the presentations that we have been through will be loaded into the app so that we can go back and refer to them. And I'm really looking forward to whenever they make those available, because you know how it is. You take classes or you take sessions, you take your own notes and everything, but it's nothing like being able to go back and view the session, those sessions twice or, 3 times. And, you learn even more every time you watch it. So that's really what I'm looking forward to. Now, what in most the sessions that I had, they also had like a 1-page snapshot of resources that they were able to give us, which was awesome, and I saved those for myself to use as a reference as well. And I thought that's really good, because as a first-year teacher, I want all the resources that I can get. Those things are the most important pieces and the most important points that were given in those sessions. And so those will be the things that, you walk away from, aside from whatever notes you took. Those will be the important points that you walk away from, knowing that you can reference those. So much of the information that was given, I will probably go ahead and print. I'll have a new teacher binder for myself, where those things that I need to make reference to throughout the year, I will be able to go ahead and access those very easily within my binder. And so I plan on keeping that binder with me, on a daily basis, take it home with me. So whether I'm working at home or whether, I'm obviously working at school, I can access that binder. So again, I just wanted to share with you what we actually had the sessions we had a choice of taking for the past 3 days of New Teacher Boot Camp in my district. We had to do a survey after each session just to kind of give our thoughts, on how it was presented, the actual material that was covered. So I felt like every session that I have taken has been awesome. And again, like I said, I can't wait until they make those presentations available, because I will go back and watch each and every one of them. And potentially some of the ones that I didn't get a chance to take. Some of my other cohort members took other sessions, and from their feedback from those sessions, I wish I could have taken those as well. So hopefully we will be able to access sessions, all of the sessions, as opposed to only the ones that we were able to register for. So again, if there are other new teachers out there that had to do a New Teacher Boot Camp, I'm from Maryland, one of the districts in Maryland, so this is how they are handling new teachers. Tell me about your process. I know from watching some of the other YouTube videos that in some states it's really easy to become a teacher, and you get some training. So share with me. Tell us in the comments what type of training you had to go through. And those veteran teachers, when you became a new teacher, did you have to go through training? What types of things did you have to do? I know there are required trainings, and then there are voluntary trainings. I'm also looking forward to some of the voluntary trainings as well, just to make sure that I can keep up with what I need to keep up with in order to be an effective teacher. So thank you for those of you who have stayed until the end of this video. I appreciate you so much for coming by the Empty Nest Teacher channel, and I hope that you watch another video when you get a chance. Like I said, I'm in Illinois in the process of moving my daughter in, and I will be making sure that I make a few videos while I'm here, because this is the real time situation in terms of being an empty nester, making sure she gets settled in her apartment and gets ready for school. So this is a part of my empty nesting, is to get them where they need to be. So anyway, thank you again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.